Hello, and welcome to this guided meditation. This meditation is for mothers who struggle with guilt and finding a way to ease the burden they feel. As a mother, you often feel in a bind, and sometimes this bind distorts the way you think about your life. Or is it that your thinking distorts the way you feel? The sequence of events may have looked like this: the strong urge to have a family, the joy of being pregnant, the horror of the weight and nausea of pregnancy while working, the relief of childbirth, the love of your new baby, the stresses of a demanding life, and suddenly the dilemma, the difficulty of sustaining active love of anyone in the face of stress. Ambivalence about the father, and the beginning of a struggle that determines the fate of the family. Why do these challenges occur? And what can you as a woman do to ease the burden on yourself? Starting a process that will help us explore, understand, and heal today begins with the body. You might take some moments to scan through the body and sense if there is any place that's tight or tense. Habitual area of contracting. Just let your awareness go to wherever you sense tension. See if it's possible to have the tightness float in awareness. For many, that means feeling the shoulders, perhaps from the inside out, and just sensing the space within and around. See if it's possible for the tangles to release a little. It's useful to soften the hands and just feel the aliveness inside the hands and space that's there, letting those sensations float in awareness. The perils of perfection and self-expectations. New mothers often expect to be perfect rather than the best that they can be. Perfection doesn't exist, but you can always strive to be better by making small changes. Holding yourself to a standard of perfection can lead to burnout in all areas of life. Because you are constantly striving for something that doesn't exist, the brain actually does the opposite of what you expect when you're a perfectionist. It slows down to make sure rather than speeding up. And life then becomes harder than you imagine because you're constantly striving to slow down, to hit the mark, rather than living in the flow. Come back to your body and begin to sense the love for yourself in every fibre of your being. Sensing an openness to the chest and then softening the belly. Loosening, feeling the life inside the belly and just letting that float. Scanning down through the hips and the legs and the feet, perhaps feeling the feet from the inside out. If you widen the lens, you can sense this whole body as a field of sensation. Vibrating and tingling, heat and cool, flowing, dense, tight, loose, pleasant or unpleasant. Just let it all be there. Sense this whole field of sensation floating in awareness. What is often difficult to recognize is that burnout affects your entire state of mind. As a result, you as a mother can become increasingly annoyed by your children or partner and then feel guilty about this. The reality is that when the burnout is reduced, feelings towards families often change. So rather than force yourself to think and feel differently, addressing the burnout can help many problems all at once. Perhaps it also feels like a relief to know it's not all your fault. Anyone would be likely to feel the way you do under so much pressure. Now you are able to free yourself a little from the vicious cycle of thought. And in doing so, you're beginning to acknowledge that there is something that you can do to change the way you feel. You're also allowing yourself this time just for yourself. As you turn your attention back to this vessel that carries you through this life, your body, we find our attention focused on the sounds around us, coming and going, these words, the spaces that are between sounds, appearing, disappearing, symphony of sound playing in this open space of awareness. Notice in the foreground this play of sound, this aliveness of sensation, feelings, and also in the background, this alert inner stillness. That's aware. The space that everything is floating in, appearing in, dissolving in. When you feel overwhelmed, it can be helpful to ask yourself why you expect something impossible from yourself. The idea that you can be the same mother that you were when you weren't working, compared to when you are working, is unfair. Having to rationalize that quality time is more important than quantity of time is also unfair. If you as a woman feel the maternal instinct and desire to have a baby, which is a beautiful thing, and then are required for financial reasons, or your own personal desire to get back into the workforce. There needs to be a balance that is right for you and your family. It's important to focus on best and not perfect. Give yourself a few tries to find out what works best. Taking this attitude will create less guilt and lead to better outcomes for you and your family. Again, as you ponder these deep and powerful emotions, come back to the safety of the body, this mindfulness of this moment, this presence right here, this wakeful openness, this natural, subjective state of being. And it's also our conditioning to leave again and again into a virtual reality of thinking. I'd like to invite you now that your practice is very simple, just to notice leaving whenever you can. Thinking, planning, worrying, and with curiosity, friendliness, just take note. Okay, off in thought, and then reopen the lens. Reconnect with the aliveness that's right here. The sounds, the sensations, and a silent presence that knows. It's also important to remember that not all women are the same. For those who are adamant that staying at home is best for them and their children, this may work best for them and their families. Whereas for those who decide to work part-time or full-time, this may be best for them as well. There is no one-size-fits-all type of mother, and different types of mothering produce different positive and negative outcomes. As you face the challenges of your own situation and the emotions that come with it, we look to focus again on being here in this moment. If it helps you to have more of an anchor for presence, you might like the breath to be the center of your attention. Sensations of the inflow and outflow. Just a relaxed, light attention to the breath. Still aware of this mysterious play of sound and sensation, this field of aliveness. This background of presence that it's not all you. The idea here is to recognize that children are a product of genes and the environment, and that they are individuals who determine their own fate as well. If you take on all the responsibility, you may in fact be distorting this, feeling as though you are responsible for how your child turns out. This could prevent your child from learning how to lean on their own sense of responsibility. Also, if you're alarmed by your own mistakes, you set a challenging standard for your child. They may grow up to learn that mistakes are bad rather than inevitable, but not a reason to give up. When you noticed that you've drifted, the pathway back is in relaxing, relaxed attentiveness, reopening the attention in a way that allows the sound to wash through you. Right here, these sounds. Re-relaxing the body some, you might loosen and soften the shoulders, the hands, the belly, and again be intimate with the aliveness that's right here. You can re-relax the heart area and just feel whatever mood or emotion might be here. A gentle, clear attention right in this moment. When you find your relationships thrown into disarray, you may want to re-examine your own standards and relax your judgments towards yourself as you allow yourself to be more human and the very best that you can be without needing to be perfect. Just as a way of closing, just to sense for yourself what is meant to belong to the life that's here, to belong to the awareness that's here. To belong to the empty, awake heart space that's here.